Welcome again to another Grandpa's Snippets, and you can see we've changed location. Sitting here in the kitchen, I kind of enjoy it. Got a table to work on, and so just sit across from me and listen as we go into another snippet. I have a small printing press here that my mother got me when I was probably 11, 12 years of age. It says Star Rotary Printing Press. I was fascinated with printing presses when I was a kid. I passed papers, and I had the privilege of going through the print room years ago, back in the 40s, when they were printing the local newspaper, and it just fascinated me the way they put type together and everything. The type here on this one is they are little. I have a collection of the letters are rubber, and you just put them in the little case there, the little carrying case where you wanted them, and then you slipped it inside, attached it to the drum, then you inked the pad, and then you turned, and out would come your print, whatever you wanted, and it was about the size of postcards, which you could run through. But I was just fascinated with printing presses, and so I thought, well, I would start off with that because I got a point to give to you. When I was in high school, I then cut linoleum block. If you don't know what linoleum block is, it's where you took maybe a piece of 8 by 10 that was kind of thick plywood on the back, and then they had a special layer of linoleum. And then you had gouging tools where you would take out everything you didn't want the ink to touch and get it out of there. And when you finished what was standing up, they would lock into the press and ink it, and that's what came out. Let me show you what I did. I was on the Peconian staff at high school, and this is one that I did. I cut everything out except the outline of those horses, and so it appeared in the paper, and on the bottom it says, "It's the little things that count." And I thought, I just enjoyed doing that. Let me show you another one. This one here is one that I did. It was at Christmas time in the school paper, and it's a little boy hiding beside the fireplace hoping to catch Santa Claus, and he's warning everybody to be quiet. I just enjoy cutting linoleum block. There's some smaller ones in here, but I just wanted to show you the two larger ones. So our church at where I went to church, they wanted to put out I think it was a monthly newsletter, and it was more than a newsletter. It was a little magazine. So I cut the front out of linoleum block that they would use, and it says, "There's a welcome here for you," in Holy Bible on the bottom, and I hope you can see that. But a lot was in it, and inside I also, I like to honor the servicemen who were in the service. I did a few things like that for the servicemen and children going to Sunday school. So I did that out of the linoleum block. I think maybe I have one here to show you. This is the same thing, only printed in red. It was at Christmas. It was Santa going down the chimney. And the interesting thing on the back too, 2 cents to mail it. And this was, I can't remember what the date of this one was, but that was back in the early 50s. So when I went on to pastor, I ran a mimeograph machine to make my bulletins. And so I would cut a stencil, put it on a large drum, ink the inside of the drum, and then crank out the bulletins or whatever I wanted. So it was a much larger machine, kind of based on the same principle, except the stencil was typed on a typewriter. Then I went on later, while I was working at where I work, they came along with the first copying machine. It wasn't what you think it is today. It was a long table, and they had a process of where you would take your copy and put it in or whatever. I don't even remember anymore, but I know it went through a dipping process and so forth, and you squeegeed off the liquid, and then you were able to, I don't know how many copies you could get. It wasn't a lot, but you could get several copies. It was liquid. Boy, nowadays the one that we have at the church has every bell and whistle you can think on it, and sometimes it just goes its own way, its own mind, and you're trying to go another. So yeah, we have taken and gone a lot further nowadays. So the point I'm getting to is that technology has come so far today. It's moving fast, it makes your head swim. God said, as the time drew near for the Lord return of his Son, the Lord Jesus Christ, knowledge would explode. Well, it has exploded from the copying to what we do now. Air travel has exploded to outer space. Driving cars has exploded to cars that drive themselves. Medicine has exploded to the place that you can do an operation on a baby within a mother's womb. So whatever you choose, whatever area you choose, things are kind of almost obsolete before they get a good foothold. Things are doubling so fast in knowledge as the Bible proclaimed it would be. God knows the future, so he foretold that this would happen, and it's happening before our very eyes. But I take great comfort in knowing this. There are some things that never change. No matter sometimes when we do well, or we mess up and we blow things in life, and, oh, I wish I could have done that better. God doesn't love you anymore. He doesn't love you any less. God is love, that's his nature, and he loves you. He cares for you when you fall on your face and you get back up. He loves you. Just get back up, that's the main thing. So his love never changes is one thing. Another thing that never changes is his word. His word is the same. It would have been the same for my mother, the same for my grandparents, the same for me, the same for you. His word is constant. It does not change and confuse us and get us off track. It keeps us on track. The third thing that does not change is the requirement to get to heaven. It has remained the same. It would not be fair for have a requirement for the people back in the 1800s and change it in the 1900s, and all of a sudden I get ready to go to heaven. Oh, I changed the requirements. No, it's always been the blood of Christ, his Son. Accept him, and you receive your entrance into the kingdom. And we know our loved ones are there because of that is what they have done. The fourth thing you can count on is he is in control of everything. He is not upset saying, oh, things are getting out of place, out of order. No, everything is falling in place. Everything is coming to place, just as the Bible proclaimed, as we're getting ready for the return of his Son. So, he does not have a headache over what's going on around us. He's very much controlled, very much sure of what is happening. So God is faithful. You can count on him. So this snippet is just a little shorter. So I want to show you something in closing. I want to show you something that perhaps some of you, maybe younger, have never seen. But actually, it's out there. I assume it still is. I haven't seen anything in years, and it's simply carbon paper. We do copiers nowadays with all those bells and whistles, and I can run 100 copies just in a few seconds. Years ago, they used carbon paper. If you haven't seen it, it's still around, I guess, somewhere. But if I wanted to make 3 copies, I would put this on the bottom, and I will put one in the center, and then I will put one on the top. And what I would do is put that into my typewriter, type, and I would have 3 copies. So that's probably not familiar anymore. But let me give you something before you go. Smiley face. And there is your copy. The third one down. Let's give you the second one. Yeah. And I'll give you a verse with it, which simply is, "This is the day that the Lord hath made. Rejoice and be glad in it, for he loves you." Thank you. See you next snippet.